This is Around Detroit Sports with the Detroit News, Rob Beard, sports editor-in-chief. But the Lions, there's a lot of people out there who feel like they haven't done enough to address some of their needs and really vault them into that Super Bowl kind of contention. We saw just how different it was between the Eagles and the Chiefs and where our Lions were. But they were also devastated with injuries, and they're getting some dogs back. They were still 15-2, and now you're adding, Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil will get healthy, and Brad Holmes is effectively taking all of the serviceable defensive backs left on the market. And so I just wanted to be able to get your feel on these Detroit Lions. Obviously, they still have the draft to add some pass rush help. But are people overreacting? Do they need to take a chill pill about these Detroit Lions?
Do people need to take a chill pill? Always.
Yeah, literally.
So, who in the division got better? The Bears got better, but they were the Bears. Like, they had to. You couldn't get worse. So, did Minnesota get better? No, not at all. So, the Lions are still the favorite in the division. Do you think they're going to be able to contend? And at the trade deadline, if the need arises, will they go out and find some other things? They haven't gotten worse. The Lions are not worse than they were, and they're going to be better than they were because they're getting their injured players back. So take a couple of chill pills and a seat over in the corner. Just let the season start.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Go sit down somewhere. That's pretty much what he's saying.
He's preaching, man, right now. Because I do. This team wasn't healthy, and they went 15-2. And I know that there's a lot that is said about the coordinators being gone, but Dan Campbell is the head guy in charge here. I just don't want anyone out there to undersell that. He's the head guy in charge. It's his offense. It's his ferocity. It's his philosophies, the whole grit and the mentality and the demeanor that we saw from day one out of Dan Campbell. And these players, they fit that same mold. But we got one more segment with the legend as well. We got to talk about these hot Detroit Pistons, right?
Hey, the 500 guaranteed.
Fans,
Go ahead,
let me say this.
Yeah.
Fans typically have PTSD because we've been through so many off seasons of they got to go do this. We need to go we need a quarterback, we need a running back, we need a defensive lineman. You're not at that point anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You needed to kind of tinker and do a little tuck or something with this roster, but it wasn't hair on fire. You got to go and replace 10 different positions, and you needed to do 10 things in free agency. This isn't that anymore. The roster is set. You have everything that you need except maybe one or two little pieces because you're getting Hutch back. You have an edge rusher. You just might want to do something on the other side. It's going to be okay. It'll be all right.
Hey, you know what? That's got to be music to – I know that's music to Flannel's ears hearing. You're getting Hutch back. It's going to be all right. That's a quote. Hey, Travis, if you're listening, that's a quote graphic. Credit Rod Beard. So you know what? We got one more segment on the way. Woodward Pistons on the way. The Detroit Pistons tied right now with the Bucks, but they do own that tiebreaker for at least a little bit because we know that there's a couple games down this stretch of this close of the season, man, that the Pistons have to be able to make some maneuvering if they want to get up the standings. So grateful to you for standing in the trenches because early on it wasn't just some struggling Pistons basketball we had to trudge through, but you took a chance on me at the time when I was fresh to a lot of this type of stuff. So now we get to kind of see what the fruits of the labor are producing, and it's to be able to cover on this platform, amongst others, a good Detroit Pistons team. And if I'm not mistaken, man, to me, one of your top 5, 6, 7 teams in all the NBA from an efficiency standpoint since January 1. Take it away with Rod's thoughts.
All right, I'll do two things. One, I will sort of honor you because you had the idea and the foresight that this would be this, and it sounds like they won a championship. This is just getting to 500.
Right.
But when this team was bad, you were like, let's do more. Let's provide more content and more coverage. So this is your vision. This is your bringing me into the fold. And I said, hey, I'll help out. I'll do whatever I can. But you've really carried the weight on this. And congratulations to you, whether they win the championship or not. Now I'm going to pivot. If they win the championship, here's a vision. If they win the championship and they got the big ski goggles on and the confetti is and the champagne is all over the place, they're going to say, Cade is going to pull down his goggles and say, We couldn't have done this without KG.
You damn right. You damn right.
KG had us at 42.
Couldn't do this without KG.
Hey, I believed in them when nobody else did, or at least I gave them the motivation to go harder. You can say that.
And so you got Jalen Duren holding the trophy, and like anything is possible because of KG.
Yeah.
That's going to be my enduring takeaway from this season, that KG has spurred them to.
See, you can't even keep up with them.
Not quite 51 wins with 9 games left. They can't get to 51. This X was always through 51 wins. It wasn't going to happen.
You jinxed me, man.
You jinxed yourself.
Yeah.
You jinxed yourself.
You jinxed yourself.
The original 42 wins is going to happen.
Yes.
So this is why I wanted you to stay with your original, because it would be closer. It'd be like The Price is Right. You might go over. You're not going to win both showcases, but you'll be close. So
hey, as long as I get on the stage, right, I'm cool. I just want to spin the big wheel one time.
Hey.
So from one KG to another, anything is possible.
Damn right.
Damn right.
From one KG to another. Hey, let me hear it. You got to cut
Anything
the promo.
is possible.
Let's go. JV Spoon, what up, though, voice of reason? I see you over there.
I just want to say how far we have come from KG's 51 wins and now to 42. Is like, hey, you know what? Anything is possible. Things happen. KG, I got to throw my hat off to you because, hey, you pushed the Pistons to go harder as ever to get to this point. So, hey. Once they get in, they have you to thank for it. That's all I'm saying.
Kool-Aid to tell you, I said 35 early in this process. I believed in this team when a lot of people just thought, oh, if we could get to 24, that'd be great. That's a great season. I'm like, no, just because you had 14 the year before, and I think what they are showing this year is that they weren't a 14-win team last year. They were just poorly managed. And you needed to see some of your young players develop, which they are doing now. But overall, that wasn't a 14-win team last year. And I think we can all take that away, that this is a much better product that we're seeing. And it's because the people up top are finally in place and they're executing the right way.
I think Rob was about to make another sticky note.
When you look at those, when you think about those double digits, the 14, the 17, the whatever, those are kind of tanking sort of things. So if we're going to be bad, let's try to get a better pick with it too.
Right.
Here's how far they come. The pick is going to convey. They're probably not going to have a first round pick unless there's some kind of trade. But we're talking about real games that matter without K, that they're winning against bad teams, which is what they're supposed to do. This is a real team. This is like Pinocchio. I'm a real live NBA team. Of a real live NBA team that is in the playoffs and going to be playing past April 13th. This is where we are now.
This is where we are with these Detroit Pistons. And Rod, I have another question for you, and then I'm going to kick it to Flannel for a question as well. Just how serious is this team? How real is this team? Because you see NBA media, you see just the national landscape scrambling now. You're starting to hear the conversations of no longer. Remember when a couple months ago we were like, we think K might be second team All-NBA. And then I know Flannel started to introduce the idea, and we introduced our MVPs, and we had Cade at 3. And I understand how this thing is going to go. But you see the NBA world now reacting to Cade Cunningham, his star prowess, and these Detroit Pistons and everybody else that they have here. And it's almost as if every other night people are like, oh, wow, Ron Holland. Oh, sweet. The Pistons got one. Oh, wow, Marcus Sasser. Talking about even those guys and seeing what they're getting. I know the NBA account posted Ron Holland's 26-point night the other night. But just how real are these Detroit Pistons? Because whether they move up in the standings or not, they've looked very, very formidable going into these playoffs, where you just saw the Bucks. And we talked about this all year, how the Pistons were going to have an opportunity to not just take advantage of climbing up the standings based on who they are, because we know they're going to set their own standard, but also the dysfunction around them, whether it's injuries or whether it's things going on within the team. And now the Bucks, they get a huge blow with Dame Lillard now sidelined indefinitely, who he says he's going to try and make a return this season. But the Detroit Pistons, real player, as we are looking just ahead at these playoffs.
I mean, Chauncey Billups is doing a really good job with these guys, turning this thing around.
Shout out Shaq.
But at the same time, it is they've had the players. This has been there the entire time. I think part of it is the coach and having the right coaching at the right time.
Yeah.
And we've talked about having those veterans there. This is what they lack. This is your longest tenured player can't be Killian Hayes or Isaiah Stewart, and that's your vet as well. You need other guys to take on some of this weight, and we're finally starting to see all of this stuff come together. You know that it's real when ESPN is adding them toward the end of the season for nationally televised games. That's when you know. And we always talk about how the national media portrays or views the Pistons. To add them into to take somebody else out and say, hey, we got to get the Pistons and Thunder back on for a nationally televised game. Thunder might be sitting some people, but that is a showcase game where even if they're not, the Pistons can still kind of show everybody who these players are and that they're a team on the rise. I'm not going to project it the same way, but this is where the Thunder were when they really got over that hump, when those stars started to be like, oh, wait a minute, Shai Gilgeous. I got to learn how to pronounce Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because this dude is the real deal. So now them getting Chet back and all of that, all of this is the critical mass. And guess where Shai is? MVP favorite at this point. That could be Cade in that same consideration in other years.
I like that. He does believe Cade will be in that MVP consideration. He could be, like how we saw SGA. And I remember when SGA started to kind of take that leap. Rod, we talked about this on the show as well a couple years, and it's cool to see kind of Cade stepping into that mold as well. What up, Dolphin?
Absolutely. And I want to talk to you about potential playoff matchups because it looks like the Pistons are a mortal lot to finish no worse than the 6th seed. I know you and I have been mostly in agreement about the Milwaukee Bucks isn't the matchup that I personally would prefer, and you've mentioned it as well for yourself, because Giannis is just, he's a different animal. He's still the best player in the East. He's a multiple-time MVP, finals MVP, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But things changed a little bit. Damian Lillard.
No, they didn't.
Really? Damian Lillard. You really don't think Damian Lillard?
No, they didn't.
All right, fine. I think Damian Lillard being out's a big deal, or potentially out. Blood clots are serious. They're nothing to be effed with. Obviously, we don't know if they're going to slow play it, but I'm not saying that the Milwaukee Bucks are my ideal matchup. But well, you've already answered the question. It doesn't make a difference for you. Go ahead and elaborate. It's all good.
If you want to see Giannis score 70 points, let the Pistons play them in the playoffs. Giannis will try to score 70. Come on, man. No, I don't want to see Giannis in any way, shape, or form. With Dame, without Dame, with a hat, with a cat, with some fish, carrying a dish.
One fish, two fish.
Carrying a dish.
No, I don't want to see Giannis at all. No. Who's guarding Giannis? No, we don't have anybody. You want Tobias guarding Giannis for a series?
God,
nope.
no.
See, y'all trying to get Tobias and Bears.
Do not recommend Hero Stars. Nope, not about that.
No, I get it.